Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you've been with me for very long, you know that I operate heavily on viewer input, and this video is a prime example of that. I keep asking where I need to go to build my homemade MREs, and y'all keep offering suggestions. So recently I was on a trip with the family to Nashville, and we stopped by World Market. No, not that one. That's the wrong one. That's the one. Nashville is the closest city to me that has a World Market. We used to have one in my area, but it closed years ago. And so while we were there, we wanted to make sure we stopped by because y'all keep asking. So with that being said, I feel like I need to say something. If you suggested that I go to World Market to build an MRE, you better not be clicking through the ads on this video. You wanted me to go there, y'all got to help me pay for it. I spent so much money at World Market. I can't even begin to describe the pricing at World Market. I don't know what world some of y'all live in, but the pricing there is outrageous. I spent so much money. I spent so much money, my wallet didn't talk to me for 3 days. I spent so much money that the IRS called and wanted to know if this year's taxes were filed in the right bracket. I spent so much money, Jeff Bezos called me for a personal loan. You get it? I spent some money. And that was the thing. It's not just the items for the MRE. That was expensive enough, but oh, we found so many things. And I took the wife, and she found things. Oh my God, we spent so much money. So with that in mind, if a commercial comes on, just watch it. Don't click through. I need the money. So let me introduce you to the Dad Budget Adventures Homemade MRE Model WO1. It's WO, not WM, because WM is now the designation for Walmart. This is not Walmart. It's not. Nothing in common with Walmart. This is World Market. So with all that out of the way, let's talk about the rules for how I put my MREs together. Rule number one is that everything in here has to be able to be eaten straight out of the package. That doesn't mean that's how we're gonna eat it. It just needs to be able to be. So what that means is shelf-stable, prepared foods in the package. The only exception to that is a beverage. If it's a drink powder or coffee or something like that, we can add water to that. Rule number two is everything in here must have at least a 1-year shelf life or best by date from the day that I buy it. That is simply to ensure freshness in the event that this gets packed away for a while. When I finally get around to eating it, I want to make sure that everything in here is as fresh as it can be. And finally, rule number three is the menu. This MRE must have an entree, a side, a walking around snack, a dessert, and a beverage. So now it's time to tear into here and see what's in my homemade MRE from World Market. All right, so our first item is our entree, and it is one of these Tasty Bite protein bowls. This is the chickpea masala. In one of my prior videos, I had one of these bowls. I think I had the Mexican bowl. This is the chickpea masala. This is more of a Mediterranean-inspired dish. Now, technically, this could be the entree and the side because it has the entree plus it comes with rice. I'm not going to cheat that with this one because I do have an additional side, but in the event that you're trying to prepare one of these, you're trying to conserve a little bit of space and you don't want to carry quite so many food items, this actually would be your meal and your side. Before we start cooking that, I want to show you the side that I got to go with this one because we're going to need to heat them both. For our side, I got this Blue Elephant Thai Tom Yam soup. This is a soup base that's intended to go with meat, but the soup itself should be fine to eat just by itself. This is kind of a curry-based soup, and I'm really anxious to try it and see just how it works as a side. So let's figure out how we want to set up our meal arrangement and how we want to cook it this time. So as I've unpackaged these items, I found something really cool about them. Each of these items comes in a separate package inside the original box. My soup comes in a retort pouch. This is perfect for this. Now, if I were putting together this MRE knowing what I know now, I would probably take this out of the box, use a Sharpie to write on here what this is, and then put it back in the package. Our Tasty Bite comes in two components. One is a rice bowl, and the other is the chickpea masala, which is also in a retort pouch. This is going to make preparing these items so much easier. So I think what I'm going to do is the easiest way to cook these is going to be to throw them in the barrel cook. So I'm just going to toss the soup and the chickpea masala into the barrel cook together, and we're going to get these cooking. All right, now that that part's underway, let's dig in here and see what else we got in our little kit. So our next item is our walking around snack, and for that I got our Sally Saul Spicy Cocktail Nut Mix. Looks kind of like a little throwback to some of the old sea rations and things like that, just a little metal tin full of spicy cocktail nuts. That ought to be a good little pick-me-up. Next up we have our dessert. This was one that the wife picked out for me, and I'm so glad that she came across this. The dessert was the hardest thing to find at World Market. I did a whole lot of searching around, and everything was either multi-serving portions or just super giant-sized candy bars and things like that. But what I got was this Hot Hatch Chili chocolate bar. I'm a big fan of Hatch chilies. I love chocolate. I love spicy chocolate. I am really anxious to give this a try. And it has a rating of hot. So we're going to test that out, see just how hot it is. And then finally comes our beverage. And for that we have One Brew Thai iced tea. This is a tea that's intended to make hot and then be put over ice. I think I might try it both ways. I think I'm going to try it hot at first and then see if adding ice to it makes it any different or any better. Now typically ice isn't really a factor when it comes to MREs, but let's face it, a lot of times we're using these things either around the office, around the house during a blackout, or on a camping trip. Most of the time we're going to have ice handy. In a disaster, maybe not, or several days into a blackout, maybe not. But we're going to try it both ways today. So before we start tasting these things, let's get our drink made so that we can have something to wash it down with. And of course, to make our beverage, we have the official Dad Budget Adventures Bling Mug made for me by my dear friend Amanda. Thank you again, Amanda. This thing has shown up in so many videos and has gotten a whole lot of comments. I'm glad you guys appreciate this thing. Let's open up our bag of tea. So I said this before, and this bears repeating. When you're buying things like tea for your MREs, look for things that are individually packaged, not just individual tea bags, but packaged inside something else. That way you can guarantee the freshness of the product, and it's not absorbing odors or weirdness from other things that might be in your kit. There's nothing like making a bag of tea and it ends up tasting like plastic. So let's open this up. There is our tea bag. Let's see what we've got here. Ooh, boy. That smells really good. It's got a very sweet smell to it. I can pick up on those chai spices, but it has a very sweet and almost creamy smell to it. Let's drop this in here and get it going. And now we're gonna set this aside and let it steep for a little bit. Now the only thing we can really try before the entree and the side are ready is our walking around snack of our spicy cocktail nuts. So let's give this a try. It's got an aluminum pull tab top for easy access, but that also means, since it does not have another lid with it, that once this is open, it's open. Got a good seal on it, or as Steve would say, nice hiss. It's a good mix. I see walnuts, I see peanuts, there's things in there I can't identify. Some almonds. It's got a good nutty smell, but I'm not picking up on a really spicy smell. In fact, the aroma is almost sweet, but I have a feeling that's probably the nut oil that's in there. Okay, so let's give this a try and kind of see what we got there. Here we go. That's a really tasty mix, but it's not really what I would call spicy. I've got a little hint of heat on the back of my tongue. Somebody that's a little less accustomed to spicy might find it to be a little hot, but I don't find it even the least bit spicy. I think that's a bit of a misnomer on there. Here's a cashew. Now, while it's not terribly spicy, it's extremely tasty. This has a really, really good flavor to it. Just enough spice added to it to kind of accent the taste of the different kind of nuts. Nothing's really overwhelming anything else. You know, sometimes you get seasoned nuts and the seasoning is all you can taste. You can't actually enjoy the flavor of the nuts themselves, but that's not the case here. I can actually taste the various different kinds of nuts that are in here, and the seasoning is just kind of an accent. All right, so I think our tea has been steeping long enough that we can at least get an idea of what we've got here. It's got that chai aroma to it, but it's not overwhelming. It's not nearly as strong as a brew as it was in the bag. It smells really good. So let's give it a taste. It's got a good flavor to it. It needs some sweetener. It has no sweetener at all. I kind of thought it might because it does have a few calories to it, which I thought was odd from a tea. But I'm gonna go grab something real quick. And I bet you can guess what I'm getting. You guessed it, I'm adding our Nate's Raw Honey. Try to get a little sweetness in this. So if you're one of the viewers that suggested that I go to World Market, do me a favor, go down to the comment section and leave me a comment and tell me how many commercials you sat through during this video. Also, let me know if there are things that you've seen at World Market that I didn't include in this that you think would be a good addition to something like this. While I do get a lot of viewers that watch for my specific suggestions, they also read the comments. I found I've got several viewers that interact throughout the comments, and sometimes comments that viewers leave end up leaving as much of an impression as the stuff that I'm doing here. Let's get one of our bamboo sporks and stir that honey in there. See how that is now that it's sweetened just a little bit. That's good tea. I like that a lot. It's got a good flavor to it, but it's not strong. One thing I run into sometimes with imported tea, especially things like chai tea and Thai tea and things like that, they do tend to be a little strong with all the additional flavors and everything that's put into it. This is a really good mild flavor. But that being said, I said we're going to try this hot and iced. Let me go grab some ice, throw it in here, and see how it is that way. There we go. All right, let's let that cool down for a minute, and let's go see how our entree and our side are doing in our barrel cook. Whew, these are hot. I'm going to take the side out first, this tom thai yam soup. It is very, very warm. I'll shake it up a little bit before I try opening it. Let me see what I can get to pour this into so you can get a look at it and see what exactly I've got. All right, let's pour it in this glass. That way you can kind of see what the soup is like. Now what I'd probably do if I was out in the field is I would open just a notch in this corner over here and then just drink it straight out of the package. But for the purposes of the video, I want you to be able to see what we've got. Now remember, this is a soup that is designed for you to throw something like shrimp or something like that in it. But we're just gonna take it as a straight broth. Ooh, that smells really good. All right, so there's the entirety of the package right there. So it kind of looks a little bit like a rich tomato soup or like a tomato bisque or something like that. It's got a really rich smell. I can pick up on the spices, the coconut, the curry. It smells quite delicious. And I can see where that would be really good with something like shrimp. Or if you were on a fishing trip and you were catching some fresh fish, you wanted to fillet that and cook it, oh my goodness, you'd have something right there. All right, let's give this a try. I don't know what herb this is, if it's lemongrass or something like that, but it's actually got pieces of these herbs in here. That's delicious. That is really good. It's got some heat to it. Surprisingly enough, this is bringing some heat. I did not expect that. It's a little weird that there's that much of these herb sticks in here. That is really, really good stuff. Yeah, if you're a fisherman and you like going on camping trips where you fish for your own food, keeping some of this on hand to put that fish in would be amazing. You would blow away everybody at your fish camp by cooking something like this. All right, let's give this tea another try now that it's iced down and see which way I like it better. That's good stuff. I can't say that I like it any better either way. Served hot, it's very tasty. It's very smooth. Served iced, it's more refreshing, especially chasing the heat of that soup that I just had. It has a certain sweetness from the flavors that are in here, but adding the honey kind of brings that out a little bit more. That's an interesting drink. It's not like any other iced tea that you would expect. There's no milk in it, there's no cream or anything like a lot of Thai tea has, and it's not overly cinnamon or cardamom or anything like that like chai tea does, so it's somewhere in between that. But it doesn't have that cream to kind of weigh it down, so it's very refreshing. Let's whip up our entree, get our chickpea masala over the rice, and see what we got. So it just occurred to me that this is another one of those vegetarian meals. I don't have any meat option or anything to throw in here, but you absolutely could add something to it. If you had like a pouch of white chicken meat or something that you wanted to add into this, that'd be perfectly acceptable. A lot of times I'll make chickpea tikka masala at home, and I always add chicken to it. All right, so we're gonna peel the top off our rice. So a lot of y'all have commented before about the fact that I cook the rice that comes in these packages and I don't eat it straight out of the package. This is fully pre-cooked rice. Because it's not heated, it's a little bit more al dente, but it's perfectly edible just like this. It's not crunchy. It's got a little chew to it. You absolutely do not have to heat this up in order to be able to eat it. All right, so here is our chickpea tikka masala. I love that this comes in a retort pouch. That is so awesome that you can take this and heat it up independently of this little bowl of rice. It makes it a lot easier, and your options for how you heat it are increased greatly by having that ability. I can put this in a mess kit, I can put it in the barrel cook, I can put it in the trucker's lunchbox, I can put this just about anywhere and get it to cook. All right, let's pour this over. Look at that. Chickpea tikka masala. Look at that, people. That looks lovely. I'm gonna mix these together really good. I'm gonna let the heat from the chickpea tikka masala kind of get into the rice a little bit, warm it up just a hair. And it's cool too that it comes with a bowl. So even though the entree itself is in a retort pouch, being able to serve it in a bowl that you can dispose of, that comes in handy too. You know, half the fun of doing things like this is taking something that was intended to be served one way and doing something different with it. You know, the company that makes these intends for these to go in the microwave, but we're finding a way to take these out on the trail or to just cook it in the backyard. All right, so let's give this a shot, see what we've got here. Tasty Bite generally makes a great product. I don't see where this would be any different. It's got a great aroma to it. You get that whole richness of tikka masala. And as I said, you could add another protein into this and really kick this up. Let's give it a shot. That's really good. I like that. Without cooking the rice, it does have a little bit more bite to it, but it's not unpleasant. I do prefer to have the rice cooked up just a little bit. So if you wanted to, you could always take that tikka masala and mix it with the rice and then put that in something else to warm it up. We could have poured everything into this stainless steel pan in the barrel cook and let it cook that way, and then that seasoning would cook into the rice. That's perfectly acceptable. However you want to do it. I mean, this is your thing. I'm just showing you what you can use. How you do it, that's up to you. So this dish is relatively mild. I would definitely prefer to kick it up a little bit, add a little bit of heat to it. I think that would make it much more enjoyable for me, but for the wife, this would be just about right. But there's a little something tugging at the back of my mind that wants to try something. Some of you may see this coming, others may not. Let's see how this goes. They just seem like they would work well together. Here we go. That is an interesting blend right there. It turns it into something totally different. Adding that curry in with the tikka masala, that's a rather fine dish right there. Something that some people might want to test the waters with before you go dumping as much as I did in there. That'll work right there. All right, we got one more thing to try. That really is good tea. I like that a lot. Last but not least, it's time for dessert. It is chocolate time, people. Let's get into this Hatch Chili chocolate bar. Look at this. You have rich dark chocolate. Snap off a little piece here. I can smell the chocolate and I can smell the chili, which is kind of unusual in blends like this. Usually the chocolate just overwhelms everything. So it'll be interesting to see how these flavors blend. So last year I went to New Mexico for the Albuquerque Balloon Festival. If you haven't seen the video, Mr. Fish and I went out there and worked a ground crew. I had the best time, stayed with some amazing people, and we ate some incredible food. I'll leave a link in the description box down below if you'd like to go check out that video. It's very different from this format, but you can see how much of a good time we're having in that video. But I had so many Hatch Chili things out there because it's kind of the home of the Hatch Chili, and folks in New Mexico love their green chilies. So this ought to be really, really good. So let's give it a try. You know, I think the most interesting thing about this, you'd think the flavors would be in contrast quite a bit, but they actually mix so well that I don't distinguish where one picks up and one leaves off. It's like the combination of Hatch Chili and chocolate is so perfect that it just creates its own flavor. That is so unique and so good and so perfect. I highly recommend that. It's not spicy to me. It's not overly hot, but that flavor that it creates, that is amazing. That may be the best companion for chocolate since peanut butter. All right, let's get another swig of this. And that is it, folks. That is the homemade MRE from World Market. So while slightly outrageous in price, we really didn't save any money on this one over going out and buying a regular MRE, but this was a lot of fun. We do this for entertainment, folks. This may be the most impractical MRE we've done yet, but it was a hit. It tasted good. Everything worked together to form a great meal, and it was highly enjoyable. But if you're near a World Market or any place that has that Hatch Chili candy bar, pick up one of those and give it a try. Let me know what you think. I am really pleasantly surprised at how good that was. And if there's a place that you know of that I have not been to build one of my homemade MREs, be sure and leave me a comment down below and tell me about it. While I may not have it in my area, I do travel a lot, and while I'm out and about, I try to find places that I don't have back at home. And if you haven't gone over yet and found me there, go over and follow me on Instagram. I use that platform for things that I don't do here. For example, if I'm going to be making a public appearance somewhere and you'd like to come meet me, I'll post it on Instagram, and then if you're in the area, you can come by and say hi. Also go over and check me out on TikTok. I've been getting a lot of items from viewers that come to me from the Amazon wish list, and sometimes they don't fit into these videos really well, so I've found that unboxing them on TikTok is a good way for me to get that out. So go check out that content over there. And if you haven't already, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you can be made aware of all upcoming videos, and come back around next week for an all new video. Until then, prepare for the world that you live in, not the one you wish existed. We'll see you next time.